Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from United States of America and Canada. Let's discuss about the US elections which are coming up very soon. How does things looks? Will Kamala Harris really shape America's future in 2025? What's going to happen? We'll discuss everything in future and in detail. My name is Gautam, host for this channel from Canada. If you are new to the channel, subscribe it now and hit the like button. Let me know you're watching this amazing informative video for you. So we are going to discuss about the palm, line, shapes, so many things in palm. So let's see if you have lucky signs in palm, what Harris is having in her palm, and we will also dive deep into the birth chart of hers. So let's start the fun today. So as you can see on the screen, I have displayed the palm of Kamala Harris. It's her right hand, and I also have the birth chart of hers. She was born on October the 20th, 1964, and she's right now 60-year old. She's in her 60th birthday now, and she is born with the Gemini rising. But before that, let's focus in her palm. I wanted to show you some positive signs and some of the other signs in her palm. Firstly, I would wanted to highlight her headline. If you see, the headline starts over here and goes a little diverted towards the mount of moon, and that indicates that yes, she is very good in her thought process overall, because initially the headline was like very straight till almost like her age of 50, but then it slightly changed, and then the headline goes towards the mount of moon, indicating more emotional and sensitive decision making in the last 5 to 7 years. That's where she was even got married a couple of years back, because there was a shift in her thought process which got a slight emotional and taking more decision towards her relationship too. But look at her lifeline. This is the lifeline which starts here, goes very good, and somewhere stops here, which is almost at the age of 57, 58. But kind of there is a lifeline which I suspect, but it's very light. Almost you can say like after 60th birthday, the lifeline gets slightly lighter in the lifeline tone. But what I see is there is like this fate line also has the lifeline over here. So she has this lifeline, a slight light, but then it continues and gets more darker after 63rd, 64th birthday. But between 60 to 62 or 63, it's a little light. That signifies a lot of things. Physical capacity of a person is seen from lifeline. Some changes are seen from the lifeline. Some bigger events coming up for her. But look at her fate line. The fate line was very strong initially, but gets darker, gets really lighter when we see ahead. And exactly between like 60 to 65 or 60 to 70, the fate line is very, very light over here, as it was very strong before her 55th birthday. I would say like between 35 to 55 was the best time in her career, in her fate. But somewhere after like 60th birthday, the fate line seems to be a little missing. But when I saw her palm for the first time, I was like, wow, she is going to be the next president of United States of America. And why did I say that? Because she had a very powerful line of sun coming in from the mount of sun. You see, from the ring finger, there's like a very big impression of a sun line, which really drops and goes all the way till like it crosses the headline. So the sun line is very strong. Sun line takes the person into economics, into law, into politics, government related works are very good for her. That's why like she was She is like the Vice President of United States because of a very strong sun line in her palm. And that government connections will always remain very strong because the sun line is always very strong in her overall palm. And but will she win? Will she become a president or not? I was really very surprised after diving deep into her birth chart. And then I saw the birth chart. I was like very convinced. But then what happened the next day? I opened the birth chart of Donald Trump, and there were certain more surprises in his chart as well. I'll come to that, but let me finish up with Kamala's palm. So look at the overall shape of her palm. I really like the shape, and the aura of her palm was slightly goes in a very rectangle shape, which if you have like a rectangle shaped palm, you believe in service to the community. You really believe in giving back to the society and helping others. So she is certainly a very helpful personality overall. She is very knowledgeable too. Look at her mount of Jupiter. That's the reason why she's like learned scholar, learned law, economics in her past, I believe, and done very good in her education. So the mount of Jupiter is very good. The mount of Sun is low, but the Sun line is there. And also look at the mount of Venus. The mount of Venus is very good. She has multiple lines on her mount of Venus, which is a good indication in her overall decision making, in her relationships, family ties, family relationship, everything goes really very good. Somehow I feel that between her moon and sun is father, moon is mother, her mount of moon is very strong. That's why I feel that she's like very much attached to mom and mother side of the family, then the father side, because moon in her birth chart also, if we see, her moon sign is Aries and moon is in the 11th house, which is very good. Sun is exactly opposite to moon, and if you see, both the sun and the moon are degree at the degree 4. Moon is at 4 degree, sun is at 4 degree, 180 degree opposite to each other. What does that mean? That means that she is born on a full moon day. And this year, last week also, we had a full moon day just before her 60th birthday. So between the sun and moon, moon is strong. And even in her palm, if you just Google more pictures, when I saw more pictures of her, her moon, mount of moon is like very, very strong. That signifies creativity, good emotions, very sensitive. She is a personality who is very good with decision making, but there is somewhere that feminine inside her which will always take a little emotional. The decision making can come up a little emotional, what I feel. Like even if like she has a good leadership quality, she knows how to balance things because maximum planets in her birth chart are in the air element. Air element means logical thinking, good in communication skills. Look at her small pinky finger. The small pinky finger really touches this line, this phalange of the ring finger, and that is a very good indication of a good communication skills. We've been looking at her debate. We saw her communication style in last couple of months. Looks good overall. That's because of her Mercury, a very good small pinky finger. If it's well placed, if your small pinky finger is kind of very long, then you're great in communication and multitasking skills also. Basically, Mercury is very good in your chart and in your life. Look at her, the middle finger goes really straight kind of and have like a very tall impact. The index finger is taller than the ring finger. Index finger is quite tall than the ring finger. If the ring finger is more taller, then there is obviously a very good chance of a person to be the leader of any organization or any country, becoming a president or, you know, something very big. Somewhere the ring finger is slightly low, and that's why I was not very convinced. But the line, the sun line itself was a positive. Now let's dive deep. So the overall palmistry looks really good. And she has, you know, good mount of Jupiter, as I said. Mount of Venus is good. Mount of Moon is like very, very good. These are like three best planets, and that's what it correlates in her birth chart too. Okay, now coming to her birth chart, she's a Gemini rising, Gemini ascendant. So this is the first house. Okay, in the birth chart, this is the first house. First house represents yourself. First house represents your ascendant sign. So if it's, you see the number 3 is written over here. 3 means it's at the time of her birth, Gemini rising was rising. Gemini sign was rising on the eastern horizon. That's why the Gemini rising, Gemini is in her first house. And then all the zodiac sign goes in the anti-clockwise way. So what is more important in a nutshell in her birth chart is Navamsha. The D9 Lord is Aquarius, and that really matches with her personality. I typically don't do birth charts reading for someone whom they don't know me or they don't consult me, because we have to, one of my specialization is the birth time rectification. But when I sometimes we come to a conclusion by looking at the chart and looking at the face of the person or the palm of the person, we can say if the birth time is right or is there any drastic difference. In her chart, the birth time I feel is almost like very, very close and all good. So the D9 and D9 Lord, the Navamsha Lord is Saturn, and Saturn is placed in the 9th house. That's very good. Saturn, Navamsha is good. Saturn delays marriage. That's why she had a very late marriage in her life. She could have married at a very early age, but I think she delayed because of her own personal thing. If you see in her palm also, there are like two lines of marriage. One is over here and one is over here. The first line of marriage is almost at the age of like 40, and the second line of marriage is almost at the age of 50, 51. That's where she was married. So Saturn in the 9th house, very good. That takes the person away from the place of birth. That's why she was born in, I think, in California, but her place of settlement, she is all over the United States. But right now, I think so, she's living very far away from her place of birth. She will travel a lot. 9th house is very good for knowledge, education, very good wisdom in her life, very learned personality, scholar. And Saturn is in its own sign over there, and there is no other aspect or conjunction. Saturn is by itself in the 9th house, in the Trikona Sthan. It's a Gemini ascendant. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury is right in the 5th house over here in the sign of Libra. That's a very good, like her ascendant sign. The command in her life, the leadership is very good. So, and that too with Sun. Mercury and Sun creates a Buddha Aditya Yoga, which is very powerful, very strong. It creates leadership skills, it creates a very good analytical, logical skill set, and a very good mind. So that's like a good combination. But something, when I saw something in her birth chart, I was not really convinced whether she will be the next president or not. In my overall analysis and opinion, I have seen the birth chart of both Harris and Trump. Trump has a little more powerful birth chart as compared to Harris. The time in Trump's life is going on little more powerful. In the entire election campaign, we saw Harris was more powerful, but something at the end of the election, I feel that things might change suddenly overnight, and the next day when we see the election result, there are chances that Trump can be the leader, because Trump's Mahadasha Antardasha is coming up very strong in his chart. I will do another video on that. But coming back to Kamala's, right now she's going under the Ketu Mahadasha and the Venus Antardasha. Now my dasha calculations are a little different. I don't calculate the Mahadasha, Vimshotri Mahadasha as per the moon. Like 99% astrologers in the world, they calculate the Mahadasha as per the moon. But there are like 2-3% astrologers, they look at the dasha based on the ascendant, based on the planets, and based on certain things. So I always go with the ascendant, because I believe ascendant is where the life starts. So the dashas should be based on ascendant. I'll do another video on that. So based on her ascendant, she's going through Ketu Mahadasha. Ketu is exalted, 7th house, which is good. But Venus is in the 4th house in the Chalit chart. Venus is right here in the 4th house. It's at the cusp of the 3rd and 4th, but either of these houses are not, the 4th house is not very powerful for like winning an election. And Venus also rules her house number 12th. So that's the house of loss. And house number 5th. 5th is good. 5th is okay. But 12th house is the house of loss. Whereas in Trump's chart, when I saw the dasha, he's going under the 11th house. So that's really powerful for him. So very interesting elections. I really hope best for whoever. It doesn't matter who wins. What I feel is it's more important that we get a good leadership in America, which can change the destiny, the democracy, and bring in like good times for every one of us. That's more important. So yeah, let's see that. So lastly, before ending this video, I also wanted to showcase some of the readings from her chart. So she's a Aquarius. Her D9 is Aquarius, which is ruled by the planet Saturn. And typically, if you see one of my video which I did about how does Aquarius personality is, she's more like an Aquarius personality overall. Because look at her face, she has a quite elongated face, like a long face, a big forehead. Look at her palm, like palm is quite long, rectangular palm. And that's how the Saturn, that's how the Aquarius personality are typically. So I was very convinced with her time of birth. That's why I thought I will do this birth chart analysis along with her palm. My initial idea was just to do palm reading for her, for you, but birth chart was also a little more important to dive deep into getting exactly what's happening overall in her life. So she's going under the Venus Antardasha, followed by next year will be Sun Antardasha. Sun is debilitated, but Sun is in the 5th house. So that's what the thing is. Like if planets are debilitated in your house, that's okay. But if they're debilitated in like positive houses, like 1st house, 5th house, 9th house, even like 11th house, that's still okay. And that's quite evident in her life. You look at her sun line below the ring finger, and she's a leader. Typically, if sun is debilitated, everyone will say, oh, sun is debilitated, so no fame, no power, no credibility. But that's not right. Like she got very good credibility for her work in the past. She got good fame. She has good credits in her life. She's doing pretty good overall. So we have to always check so many details, right? It's not just one thing, and everything in life is not just based on one small thing. We have to go very much detailed in her. And I don't know her D60. Unless if she calls me or gets a reading done, I can exactly rectify her birth time and see if there is any 1 or 2 minute difference. 1 or 2 minute difference will not change her D9. So I'm pretty sure her D9 is like spot on Aquarius, but the D60 chart can vary. So I'm not getting into her D60 unless we do in-person reading with the client. All right. So one more thing, her D10, the Samsa Lord is Mars, and Mars is debilitated. Mars is debilitated. So that's again put me a real off. Like, she will success in her political career, but becoming a very big leader, that's a question. And in her chart, maximum planets are in air element. You see, Rahu is in air, and then we have Sun and Mercury in air, and then we have Saturn in air. So there are like 4 planets in the air element, and then there are 1 and 2 and 3 planets in the fire. 3 planets in the fire and 4 planets in the air. So she has more of an air element and fire element, which is good. Air and fire are friendly signs. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Again, let's hope for the best. Let's see what happens with the election overall. I hope it goes all good and goes for the benefit of the common man, common people, and it benefit the country, and sending good positive vibrations to everyone, whoever is watching this video. Again, if you have not hit the like button, hit the like button. Show us some positive gratitude towards the efforts which we put in making these videos. Thank you, and I will see you soon with another new video on Vedic astrology and palmistry. Take care.